name's Opalyn, and my role at the PTJ this year is to build a Hugelkultur and lead a team of people building that Hugelkultur, build a robust apothecary, and create a spinning wheel from bike parts. So I've been part of an intentional community for over a decade where we learn what it takes to feed, clothe, fuel, and house people on marginal land. I was here both last year and this year for 6 weeks, so to some extent it all blends together. I remember last year having a strong focus on completing badge bits and earning my PEP 1 certification. Permies.com is the website that Paul Wheaton hosts for all of us permaculture enthusiasts to talk and have a safer space than the general web or Reddit to discuss permaculture ideas. PEP 1 certification is part of the SKIP program, the Skills to Inherit Property. And PEP 1 is Permaculture Experiences according to Paul, and the 1 is the first level certification. So there's 4 levels of certification, and then there's also 4 levels of badge bits, sand, straw, wood, and iron. And a badge bit is a single project. An example of a badge bit is building a Hugelkultur. And so it's basically lasagna, and where you've put it down a layer of wood and a layer of dirt and a layer of wood and a layer of dirt, and you're building up to create vertical growing space as well as some microclimates and some variation to flatland. So that's one badge bit. Another badge bit would be creating a concoction, which could be infusing lavender into olive oil, for example. Working through the badge bits is a very educational process. One of the tracks, or they're called aspects, so Paul likes to say that the Permaculture Experiences program is for learning, but not for learning. And that means that we're not going to teach you how to do it, but the badge bits often have links to YouTube videos and various things where you can learn how to do it. And so I've learned a lot. This year I took on 3 projects. The first was this, building a spinning wheel out of bicycle parts. So I've seen a number of designs that use 2 forks. So this is the forks off of a bicycle. And so you have a fork set over here and one over there holding the wheel. And that means you need 2 bicycles. And I wanted to start with 1 bicycle and go from there. So this unit is cut off of a bicycle, this section, and rotated so that the wheel is up. And then this is a set of forks which is also upside down. So this is bolted using the bolt assembly of the forks to the board, and then these are using these clamps to affix it to the board. The wheel is mounted exactly like a wheel is on a bicycle, and then the front forks actually hold the spindle. So this is basically a great wheel or a small great wheel design, where you have a spindle and a whirl and a great wheel to drive your whirl and spindle, and adding twist to the yarn and actually creating a small skein of yarn. My second project was building a Hugelkultur and leading a group of people. So myself and 1 participant wanted to complete badge bits. It was us and a chainsaw and a big piece of equipment that we call Rex. Then there was a group of 6 people, and they decided to build another 2 sections of Hugelkultur. So again, it's a lasagna where you've got dirt and logs and dirt and logs and dirt and logs, and you build it up. Actually, the logs, so if we're building a Hugelkultur right here, the logs actually go this way, and that helps prevent all the soil and the logs from running downhill back into the ground and making a flat design. By putting the logs perpendicular to the length of your hugel, that helps keep it taller and keep everything where you place it. Then we need to seed it, so we take at least a dozen species of seeds, including about 75% legumes or nitrogen fixers, and planting it with those, as well as some comfrey root and some Jerusalem artichoke root. And then we mulch it to keep any soil moisture in and to keep the seeds in. So I use straw, pine boughs, some extra comfrey. So when we harvested the comfrey root, there was leaves on it. So there were some leaves of that, some mullein and mullein stalk. So lots of options for mulching the hugel. Well, the idea of hugels is that when it's wet, the logs capture the moisture and hold it, and they don't let it run downhill. So it's a way to soak moisture and store it into the spring. I have hugels at my property that we have not watered in 5 years, and we have very hot, dry summers and fairly wet, cool to cold winters. And we have daffodils and roses and all kinds of things growing that don't grow in other areas of our property because of that sponge. I was really amazed that all of us completed our hugels in one day. So I built a 12-foot hugel for the straw level badge bit, and one participant built a 6-foot long hugel for the sand level. There's lots of different ways to build them. You can have some logs underground, you can start at ground surface and dig trenches on the side. So it really depends on what your climate is like. And these are generally a cool to cold, more temperate climate strategy as opposed to a dryland or desert strategy. But for most of North America, I would say that hugels could work. My third project is to build a robust apothecary. So our plan is to infuse oils with plant material like olive oil, and to make tinctures, which is using alcohol as the solvent. Most people are familiar with teas, which is using water as a solvent, or herbal teas, and decoctions. We can also make poultices and vinegar infusions and syrups. So those are all the different things that are on my mind as I build this apothecary. We have some lavender oils. So this is less than an ounce of lavender in about 12 ounces of olive oil. This will infuse for at least 2 weeks, and then I'll strain out the lavender, and we'll have an oil that can go into a bath or be rubbed on your skin if you need that calming lavender. We also have comfrey oil, which is a really good healing agent for cuts and wounds. And then mullein oil, which is a respiratory system agent. Once I've strained out the mullein leaf, I will add beeswax, and it'll be a salve that you can apply to your chest when your chest is feeling tight. And then you can also take a tea, which will have similar but slightly different plant constituents that come out when you infuse it in water. Then we have a set of tinctures, and so this we use alcohol. 40% or 50% alcohol is often enough concentration for dried plant material. I tend to use a stronger, like Everclear type material if it's fresh, wet plant material. But the sterilizing properties of alcohol mean that you can use fresh plant material, whereas for oils, I don't want to use fresh plant material and have it soak for a long period of time. So I would process it. I would actually heat this gently for 48 hours if I was using fresh or wet plant material, and handle it just a little bit differently. But for a tincture, you can use wet plant material and not have any problem because of the alcohol. So this is chili peppers, seeds, and fruit material. And once this is strained, it will be great for headaches. But the alcohol, again, takes out different plant constituents than water would. Here we have yarrow flowers and yarrow leaf. And this is another skin agent for healing. And then we have uva ursi, and this is also known as bearberry or kinnikinnick. It's a small evergreen shrub that grows really nicely here at Wheaton Labs, and it offers a lot of urinary tract support. These four, so the comfrey and mullein and yarrow and kinnikinnick and the self-heal, were all harvested by the team that just chose to work on this project. But generally, growing and harvesting your own plant material is a really great way to understand how the herbs work. Where would people go to dive into some of the things that I've been talking about? Permies.com, absolutely. However, my first experience was very overwhelming. It's like, what is all this stuff? I don't know where to start. So recently, Mike Hazel and Paul Wheaton have published a book called Skip, and it goes through and does a really good job of introducing people to the Skip and PEP program. And that's a great place to start, getting your hands on a copy of the book. I believe it's offered at the Permies website and on Amazon. If you would like to reach out to me, you can find me at herlandforest.org, and that is in Natural Burial Cemetery. That is an outgrowth of a community that's been on that land for 30 years. And if you're interested in a permaculture design course, there's one here. There's a lot offered online if you want a much longer time frame of learning.